China's $50 mattresses are already on shelves, and they might be coming for the entire $30 billion sleep industry. Real factory listings out of Guangdong and Zhejiang show queen-size foam mattresses leaving the loading dock for as little as $35 to $56 before anyone marks them up. Zoom out, and the whole global mattress market is worth about the size of a small national economy, something like Iceland, where every business, every export, every job in the entire country adds up to less than what the world spends on mattresses in a single year. You heard that right. And that is just the beginning, because the real story here is not the price tag. Here's the part that blows people's minds. This is not a fluke, it is a system, engineered over decades to outproduce, outship, and outprice an entire industry that took 100 years to build, and it did not happen by accident. If a number like that grabs you, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe, because we track exactly this kind of quiet manufacturing takeover before it hits the mainstream news. By the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly how a $50 box is threatening a billion-dollar boardroom. Because to understand how cheap got this good, you have to start with the man who saw it coming first. Picture South Korea in 1979. A small company called Zinus opens its doors, and it has nothing to do with sleep. It makes tents and camping gear, the kind of thing built to be light, tough, and small enough to stuff into a backpack. Nobody in that workshop is thinking about bedrooms. But here is the detail that engineers do not want to admit. The skill required to compress a tent into a stuff sack is almost identical to the skill required to compress a mattress into a box. By the early 2000s, Zinus made the leap, shifting its focus from outdoor gear to household sleep products, and it built its manufacturing base in Xiamen, China, where factory space, labor, and raw foam were all cheaper than almost anywhere else on Earth. The company did something the century-old mattress industry had never bothered to do. It rolled a full-size mattress into a tight cylinder, vacuum-sealed it, and shipped it in a box small enough to fit in a sedan. Suddenly, a product that used to require a delivery truck and 2 strong men could arrive by mail, carried up the stairs by 1 person, unrolled, and left to expand on a bedroom floor. Walk into any Amazon warehouse today and you will find Zinus sitting near the top of the mattress category, one of the highest volume sleep brands on the entire platform, built almost entirely on undercutting brick-and-mortar prices while shipping compressed foam out of a single Chinese manufacturing hub. And the part nobody talks about is that Zinus was not secretive about any of this. It published its factory location. It told customers exactly where the mattress came from. It did not need to hide it, because at that price most people stopped asking. This is where the story really begins, because Zinus proved the model works. It did not prove it was the only company that could run it. Within a few years, the same Chinese manufacturing clusters that built Zinus's factories started supplying everyone else too. Not just one brand chasing the bed-in-a-box trend. We are talking entire industrial parks in Guangdong dedicated to nothing but foam pouring, spring coiling, and compression packing. Factories that once made a single product line for a single client started producing private label mattresses for dozens of competing American startups at once, all pulling from the same raw foam, the same compression machines, and the same shipping playbook Zinus had already proven out. And here is the part most people never think about. Many of those glossy, direct-to-consumer mattress startups that flooded Instagram ads a few years back were never really rival factories at all. They were marketing companies buying from the exact same Chinese production lines and slapping a different name on the box. But a compressed box is only half of the equation. The real disruption was not in the box. It was in the foam itself and how absurdly cheap it had become to make. Think about squeezing a fully soaked kitchen sponge down to the size of a domino, sealing it in plastic, and mailing it across an ocean, only for it to pop back out to its full size the moment someone cuts it open. That is essentially what a compressed foam mattress is doing, and it only works because of one property. Polyurethane foam is mostly trapped AIR. Manufacturers whip a liquid chemical mixture until it foams, pour it into a mold, and let it cure into a slab full of tiny air pockets. Compress that slab hard enough and the air escapes through the open cells, shrinking the mattress down to a fraction of its size. Release the pressure and air rushes back in, and the mattress reinflates on its own. Here's what makes this incredibly exciting for a factory. Because the finished product is mostly air until it is unboxed, a single shipping container that could only fit a few dozen traditional spring mattresses can now fit hundreds of compressed foam ones. That is not a small efficiency gain. That is the entire cost structure of the mattress industry getting rewritten. Traditional innerspring mattresses are bulky, metal-heavy, and expensive to move, which is exactly why local factories and regional retailers dominated that business for so long. Nobody wanted to ship a queen-size box spring across an ocean. Foam broke that rule completely. China's factories leaned hard into that opening, building entire supply chains around dense foam production, high-speed compression machinery, and shrink-wrap lines that can package a mattress in under a minute, running around the clock in facilities purpose-built for exactly this one trick. Combine cheap Chinese labor, cheap Chinese manufactured chemical inputs, and a product that ships like a rolled-up yoga mat, and you get a genuinely new economic category, not a knockoff of the old one. Here's what makes this even more extreme. A standard ocean freight container can hold roughly 250 rolled foam mattresses stacked on their sides, compared to barely more than a few dozen traditional innerspring mattresses shipped upright and uncompressed. That is not a marginal edge in a competitive market. That is one factory being able to flood a market with 5 times the inventory using the exact same boat, the exact same fuel, and the exact same shipping fee. Multiply that advantage across thousands of containers a year, and you start to understand why a Chinese-made queen mattress could hit an American driveway for a fraction of what it costs to make one domestically, even before wages, rent, and local regulation are factored in at all. But shrinking a mattress down to a shippable size only solves half the problem. Getting millions of these things across a border without the American mattress industry noticing was going to be a very different fight. And it is the fight that nearly ended this entire story before it began. Give credit where it belongs. American mattress makers like Tempur Sealy and Serta Simmons bedding did not build sloppy products. They spent decades refining foam density, coil design, and durability testing, building brands people trusted enough to spend over $1,000 on, roughly 20 times the price of a bare-bones factory direct import, without blinking. That trust was earned through real engineering, real warranties, and real quality control, the kind that takes generations to build and about 5 minutes to lose. But between 2015 and 2017, the volume of mattresses imported from China into the United States jumped by 218%, a pace no domestic factory could match, no matter how good its coils were. Warehouses that used to stock a handful of import brands were suddenly stacked floor to ceiling with boxed foam mattresses nobody in the industry had heard of 6 months earlier. But Tempur Sealy was not done watching from the sidelines. In 2017 alone, the United States pulled in more than $436 million worth of Chinese-made mattresses, and government investigators later estimated that roughly 5 million of those mattresses, close to the entire population of Ireland arriving in boxes, made up nearly 1/3 of all mattress production sold in the country that year. The average Chinese-made mattress was selling for around $153, against $280 for a comparable American-made bed, undercutting domestic manufacturers before they even got a chance to compete on the shelf. In 2018, Tempur Sealy and Serta Simmons filed a formal complaint accusing Chinese manufacturers of dumping, selling mattresses in the United States for less than they were sold for at home, specifically to gut the competition. It was one of the largest trade actions an American furniture-adjacent industry had filed against Chinese manufacturers in years, and it dragged government investigators, customs data, and factory pricing sheets into a single, very public fight over the price of a bed. Then came the ruling that changed everything. The United States International Trade Commission agreed, and regulators floated tariffs so extreme that an $18 wholesale mattress could have ended up costing more than $300 once the duty was applied. By December of 2019, the Commerce Department made it official, issuing a formal anti-dumping order, slapping a 234% duty on mattresses imported from China, one of the harshest trade penalties applied to any consumer product that decade. Factories that had been quoting $50 and $60 a unit suddenly could not compete in the American wholesale channel at all, and several Chinese mattress exporters quietly shifted production to Vietnam and other neighboring countries just to keep selling into the same market under a different flag. On paper, that should have ended the story right there. It did not, because the demand for a $50 mattress had not gone anywhere, and where there is demand, a new pipeline always finds a way through. And that pipeline was not going to look anything like a shipping container. Here is the brutal catch nobody in the mattress boardroom saw coming. If you cannot ship mattresses to America by the container load without a crushing duty attached, what if you never shipped a container at all? That is the loophole. Platforms like Temu, Shein, and AliExpress built entire empires on. For years, any package entering the United States valued under $800 qualified for something called the de minimis exemption, meaning it could cross the border duty-free, no matter where it came from. A single rolled-up mattress mailed straight from a factory in Xiamen to someone's front door in Ohio was technically not the same thing as 5 million mattresses arriving on a cargo ship. It was just one box. Multiply that by a few million individual customers clicking buy, and you have rebuilt the exact same import volume the tariffs were designed to stop, just relabeled as individual retail purchases instead of bulk trade. It was not illegal. It was not even hidden. It was simply a rule written for an era before any single company could ship millions of individually addressed packages a day, and the platforms that figured that out first grew faster than almost anyone in retail history. On Temu right now, a 10-inch queen memory foam mattress has sold for under $150, with full and twin sizes dropping even lower, all shipped directly from the manufacturer with no domestic markup sitting in between. Not just a discount here and there, we are talking factory-to-doorstep pricing on furniture, then mattresses, then entire bedroom sets, then metal bed frames with built-in lighting and storage drawers, then full home renovation materials that used to require a showroom, a delivery truck, and a salesperson standing between you and the factory. And here is the detail that most shoppers never clock. The platform is not really competing with other mattress brands anymore. It is quietly competing with the very idea of a furniture store. But regulators were not done responding either. In 2025, the United States formally closed the de minimis exemption for goods coming from China, the exact crack in the wall that made the whole workaround possible. And here is what most people get wrong about what happened next. The platforms did not fold. Temu pivoted hard toward United States-based warehouse fulfillment for its highest volume products, and by 2026, those domestic warehouses were projected to handle up to a quarter of all its American sales, with the rest still routing through direct international shipping or partner sellers. Shein made a nearly identical move, building out semi-managed local warehousing specifically to survive the policy change, while still sourcing almost everything from the same Chinese factory base that made the original loophole possible. The loophole closed, the demand for the price point did not. And that mismatch is exactly what set up the strangest twist in this entire story. The cheap mattress that made it to your door might not be as harmless as the price tag suggests. Now here's the part that puts everything into perspective. Not every corner cut to hit $50 is invisible once you are lying on it. Picture two identical looking sponges sitting side by side. One is dense enough that pressing your thumb into it takes real effort and it springs right back. The other is soft enough that your thumb sinks in easily and stays dented for a second after you let go. Mattress engineers measure that difference in something called PCF, pounds per cubic foot, and it is the single biggest predictor of how long a foam mattress will actually hold its shape. Industry testing generally treats 1.8 PCF as the threshold where a foam layer can handle years of nightly use without collapsing. Most budget foam layers coming out of Chinese factory direct brands test closer to 1.2 to 1.5 PCF, noticeably softer, noticeably cheaper to produce, and noticeably faster to sag. Reviewers who track these mattresses over years, not just out of the box, consistently report visible body impressions forming within 3 to 5 years of nightly use, right around the time a premium mattress is just settling into its prime. That is not a scandal. It is physics. And it is the honest trade-off behind every rock-bottom price, the exact same trade-off you would expect from a cheaper sponge in your kitchen. But there is a detail that is a genuine scandal, and it involves one of the biggest names in this entire market. Zinus, the very company that pioneered the compressed foam mattress, is currently facing a proposed class action lawsuit in the United States after multiple families reported health issues linked to fiberglass used inside the mattress cover as a cheap, code-compliant fire barrier. Cut into the cover, and fiberglass particles can spread through an entire home, embedding in carpets, air vents, and fabric for months, in some cases forcing families to throw out furniture and replace flooring just to get the particles out. Zinus has since started shipping models with safer fire sock barriers instead of raw fiberglass mesh, but the lawsuit is a reminder of exactly how a fire safety requirement can be satisfied on paper for pennies, using a material nobody checks for until something goes wrong. If a detail like that changes how you look at your own mattress tag, our mission here is to keep you informed on the manufacturing decisions companies never put on the label, so subscribe so you do not miss the next one we dig into. For most budget sleepers, none of this is dramatic, and plenty of people sleep on these mattresses for years without a single issue. For a few unlucky ones, though, it is a genuine hazard hiding under a bargain price, one that never shows up in a 5-star review written the week the box arrived. And that quiet reputational risk turned out to be one of the few weapons the American mattress industry actually had left. For Tempur Sealy, the bigger problem was never really about matching a $50 price tag foam for foam. It was about surviving in a market where the floor had permanently dropped out from under it. So the company did what dominant incumbents have done for a century when a cheaper competitor threatens the bottom of the market. It moved up and it consolidated. In February of 2025, Tempur Sealy completed a $5 billion acquisition of Mattress Firm, merging the two into a new parent company called Sumny Group International, and agreeing to divest 176 stores to satisfy federal antitrust regulators. That is not a company panicking. That is a company betting its entire future on scale, retail presence, and brand trust, winning a fight that price alone cannot. Tempur Sealy still commands roughly 11% of the entire global mattress market, more than any single competitor, built on decades of coil engineering, foam science, and a name people are willing to pay a premium for. And it was not the only legacy player recalculating. Rivals like Serta Simmons and Sleep Number spent the same stretch of years leaning harder into features factory direct brands cannot easily copy overnight. Things like in-home sleep trials, adjustable firmness settings, sleep tracking technology built into the base, and decades of accumulated warranty data most budget importers simply do not have the history to offer. Then came the detail that put the whole standoff into focus. Both sides were now optimizing for completely different customers. China's factory direct model was never actually trying to win the person who wants a 10-year warranty and a showroom test drive. It was chasing the guest room, the college dorm, the first apartment, the person who just needs something to sleep on for 2 years without spending a car payment on it, and increasingly, the budget-conscious family furnishing an entire home at once. And it is winning that fight decisively, one Amazon order and one Temu shipment at a time. Tempur Sealy was not done evolving either. Its answer was not to compete on cost. It was to double down on being the trusted, premium, physically tested alternative in a world suddenly flooded with anonymous factory listings, leaning on showroom experience and long-term durability testing that a website photo simply cannot replicate. Whether that strategy holds is still an open question, but the two companies are no longer even playing the same game anymore. Here is what makes this incredibly exciting if you're watching from the outside. For the first time in decades, the mattress you sleep on tonight says something real about which side of that split you landed on, whether you noticed it or not. And that split is the real story underneath the mattress industry, one that reaches into nearly every category of large, heavy, expensive goods sitting in your house right now. Step back from the mattress itself and you can see what this fight was actually a preview of. For 100 years, big, bulky, expensive-to-ship products like mattresses, sofas, and major appliances were protected by their own size. Shipping costs alone kept regional manufacturers safe from overseas competition, because no factory on the other side of the planet could economically move something that heavy across an ocean and still undercut the local price. That protection felt permanent for generations. Furniture stores, appliance dealers, and mattress showrooms built entire business models on the simple fact that shipping a couch or a box spring across the Pacific never made financial sense. Compression technology and factory direct e-commerce quietly erased that protection, first for mattresses, and now for furniture, mattress toppers, box springs, and entire home renovation categories that used to require a showroom visit and a delivery crew. This is the detail that puts the whole video into perspective. The $50 mattress was never really about mattresses. It was proof that almost nothing manufactured is too big, too bulky, or too protected to be reinvented by a factory willing to compress it, ship it directly, and sell it for a fraction of the old price. Anti-dumping duties can slow that down. Closing a shipping loophole can slow it down further. But neither one reverses the underlying math, because the cost to manufacture foam, springs, and fabric in China remains dramatically lower than the cost to manufacture the same materials almost anywhere in the West, tariffs or not, and that gap does not close just because a new law makes the paperwork harder. That gap is what keeps pulling entire industries toward the same reckoning. Mattresses just went through, one product category at a time, whether the incumbents are ready or not. This is the part most shoppers never think about until it lands on their own doorstep. The $50 mattress was never really the finish line. It was the test case, the cheapest, simplest, most compressible product China's factories could use to prove the entire model actually works at scale before rolling it out across everything else built to sit in a living room. Every industry that assumed its physical size was a permanent moat is now watching a category that seemed unshakable get rewritten in under a decade, and there is no obvious reason the same playbook stops at bedrooms. The next time you walk past a furniture showroom, a mattress store, or even a kitchen appliance aisle, you are looking at an industry standing exactly where the mattress business stood 5 years ago, right before its floor gave out. Now I want to hear from you in the comments. Team Factory Direct at $50, or Team Pay More and trust the name stitched into the tag. Pick a side because this comment section is about to get loud.